Your pistol? Yeah, there's a very good chance it's running at maybe 60% of its true potential. And here's the part most people never think about. That limitation was not an accident. It was engineered that way. I changed exactly one thing on my own carry gun. Didn't pay a gunsmith. Didn't send it off. Didn't spend a fortune. And the difference? Night and day. But understand this. That performance was always there. It was just buried under layers of corporate decision-making. Lawyers worried about lawsuits. Accountants shaving pennies. Engineers being told to play it safe. I've spent years watching major manufacturers deliberately restrain their own designs. Not because they can't build better guns, but because better sometimes means riskier, more expensive, harder to warranty. They'll use metal injection molding when a properly machined part would last longer. They'll add features marketed as safer. That can actually work against you in a real defensive encounter. And why does that happen? Simple. Lower warranty claims, lower production costs, happier shareholders. Today, I'm walking you through 17 modifications serious shooters actually use to unlock speed, reliability, and accuracy. That manufacturers knowingly left on the table. But I'm also going to tell you something just as important. Exactly how each one can damage your gun, void your warranty, or land you in serious legal trouble. Because let's be honest, the person determined to do something reckless, they're going to do it whether I explain it or not. But the guy who hears one of these tricks at the range, tries it blind, and doesn't understand the consequences, that's the person who gets hurt. So let's get into it. Modification 17, recoil spring tuning. Factory recoil springs are designed for the absolute worst-case scenario imaginable. Picture this. Someone buys the cheapest ammunition they can find, hasn't cleaned their gun in 6 months, and grips it like they're afraid it might explode. Manufacturers must guarantee the gun cycles for that shooter. So what do? They overspring everything. You'll routinely see 17-pound springs in pistols that mechanically only need 13 pounds of force. Now here's where the problem shows up. Every single shot, that heavy spring drives the slide forward so aggressively, your muzzle dips downward after recoil. Your follow-up shots slow down. Your rhythm gets disrupted. Your sight tracking suffers. The modification itself? Pretty straightforward. Swap to a lighter recoil spring, typically in the 11 to 13 pound range. Suddenly your sights stay flatter. That annoying dip largely disappears. And the gun starts feeling like a precision instrument instead of a stapler. But make no mistake, you are making a trade. You're giving up that runs-anything reliability margin. Dirty gun, weak ammo, poor grip. You may start seeing failures to cycle. This is a conscious choice competitive and professional shooters make. It is not automatically a defensive gun upgrade. Modification 16, slide rail lapping. Brand new pistols often feel stiff, sometimes gritty, sometimes downright rough. Ironically, expensive guns can feel worse than budget guns. Why? Because the slide and frame rails haven't worn into each other yet. The manual usually says, go shoot 500 rounds to break it in. That's multiple range trips, and easily a couple $100s in ammunition. There is a faster method, valve lapping compound, basically an abrasive paste. Apply a thin layer directly to the slide rails, then rack the slide back and forth around 100 cycles. 20 minutes of controlled friction can mimic what thousands of live rounds would normally accomplish. The end result? That glass-on-glass smoothness you feel in tuned competition guns. But here's the catch. If you fail to obsessively clean every single particle of that compound afterward, it doesn't stop cutting metal. You're essentially running sandpaper inside your gun. Eventually, you end up with excessive rail wear, looseness, and a slide that rattles like loose change in a tin can. And your warranty? Gone. Manufacturers can absolutely tell when rails have been lapped. Modification 15. Tungsten guide rods. Field strip your pistol. Look at the guide rod. 9 times out of 10, you're staring at hollow steel or polymer. Why do manufacturers use them? They're light. They're cheap. They're easy to produce. But physics doesn't care about accounting departments. Mass matters when managing recoil. Replace that factory rod with solid tungsten. Tungsten is incredibly dense, nearly twice the density of lead. You're adding significant weight, often up to 70 grams, right at the muzzle. This increases rotational inertia. Translation? The gun resists muzzle rise more effectively, faster shooting, flatter tracking. But tungsten has a downside. It's brittle. Drop your gun on concrete. A polymer rod flexes and survives. A tungsten rod can shatter. For a duty gun or anything that might take real abuse, that brittleness becomes a legitimate liability. Modification 14. Blacking out rear sights. Most factory pistols ship with the classic 3-dot sight system. 1 dot front, 2 dots rear. It looks intuitive, symmetrical, comforting, especially for new shooters. But under stress, those identical dots create visual clutter. Your eyes now juggle 3 dots, front sight focus, target focus, cognitive load increases. Your brain wastes time deciding which dot actually matters. The fix? Costs pennies. Black permanent marker or model paint. Completely black out the rear dots. Leave the rear sight as a plain black notch. Now you've got clean rear reference. One bright front sight. Your eye naturally snaps to the front. Target acquisition speeds up. Sight tracking becomes cleaner. It feels like a dramatic upgrade, despite being ridiculously simple. Modification 13. Finger groove removal. Older generation polymer pistols, including early Glock designs, featured molded finger grooves. The theory was simple. Guide the shooter's hand into proper placement. The problem? They designed those grooves for an average hand, which doesn't really exist. If your fingers don't match that mold exactly, those grooves force a compromised grip. Under recoil, the gun shifts. Consistency suffers. The aggressive solution? Remove the grooves entirely, typically using a sanding drum. Flatten the front strap, then retexture to taste. Now the grip fits your hand, not some statistical abstraction. But this is extremely destructive work. Go too deep, and you can weaken the frame. Worst case? Compromise structural integrity near the magazine well. And of course, there is no undo button. Warranty? Resale? Forget it. Modification 12. Silicon carbide application. Traditional stippling melts texture into polymer. Works well for most shooters. But competition shooters chasing absolute grip security often step into silicon carbide territory. Marine epoxy applied to the grip surface. Industrial 60 grit silicon carbide sprinkled over the wet coating. Once cured, you've effectively bonded sandpaper to your gun. The grip becomes brutally effective. Sweat? Rain? Blood? Doesn't matter. That pistol is not moving. But the downsides are very real. It will shred clothing. Inside, the waistband carry becomes unpleasant at best, painful at worst. This modification firmly categorizes the pistol as a specialized competition tool. Factory support? Resale value? Essentially gone. Modification 11. The accelerator cut. Modern recoil control techniques often place the support hand thumb forward on the frame, applying downward pressure. Most factory frames are rounded and slick in that area. Not much to leverage. The accelerator cut introduces a ledge or aggressive texture on the dust cover, creating a mechanical shelf for the thumb. Now you can actively drive the gun flatter during rapid fire. The pistol behaves more like a race gun than a duty gun. But there's risk here. Manufacturers warn that excessive material removal can weaken the rail area. Grind too deep and you may compromise frame strength. This is one of those modifications where precision is everything. Modification 10. Trigger guard undercut. Ever finish a long-range day with a sore middle finger? Classic Glock knuckle. Caused by thick, squared trigger guards. The undercut removes material where the trigger guard meets the grip, allowing your hand to sit higher on the frame. Higher grip equals reduced bore axis relative to your wrist, reduced leverage, reduced muzzle flip, better recoil control, but remove too much material and you risk weakening the trigger guard itself. Unlikely failure? Yes. Impossible? No. Modification 9. Brass screw crown job. The crown is the final surface touching the bullet as it exits the barrel. Even microscopic damage here can destabilize projectiles. Professional gunsmiths use precision lathes. The garage version? A brass screw. Brass, being softer than barrel steel, acts as a gentle lapping tool. Spun with compound against the muzzle, it can rehabilitate minor crown damage, but it is inherently imprecise. Any wobble, any uneven pressure, and you may permanently worsen barrel geometry. This is absolutely not beginner territory. Modification 8, feed ramp mirroring. Reliability boils down to feeding dynamics. Factory ramps often display machining marks, microscopic ridges, minor friction points. Polishing to a mirror finish reduces resistance. Rounds glide more smoothly into the chamber. But here's the danger zone. If you round the upper edge of the feed ramp, you reduce case support. In higher pressure calibers like 10mm or 40 Smith & Wesson, that can lead to case bulging or catastrophic failure, what shooters bluntly call a kaboom. Quick pause here. If you're getting value from this breakdown, hit that like button and consider subscribing. It genuinely helps the channel. All right, back to it. Modification 7, DIY over-travel stop. Over-travel is excess trigger movement after the shot breaks. That wasted motion disturbs sights and delays reset. Aftermarket triggers often include stops. DIY solutions involve installing a set screw within the trigger mechanism. Properly tuned, you get a crisp break, minimal movement. Improperly tuned, failure to fire, light strikes, mechanical interference. Precision matters. Modification 6, safety plunger reshaping. The firing pin safety plunger is a common source of trigger grit. Factory plungers often have sharp edges. Careful reshaping and polishing can convert scraping friction into smoother rolling contact. But understand what you're modifying. A safety component. Any unintended discharge afterward, you are stepping into serious liability territory. Modification 5, the 25-cent polish. Microscopic burr removal, surface refinement, not geometry alteration. Overdo it and you risk unsafe engagement surfaces. Worst-case scenarios include drop fires or unintended burst behavior. This is strictly finesse work. Modification 4, loaded chamber indicator blockage. Performance gains versus legal, warranty, and safety implications. This one lives in a gray zone that varies heavily by jurisdiction. Modification 3, magazine disconnect neutralization. Removes mechanical friction, removes certain safety functions, can carry severe legal consequences depending on location. Modification 2, striker swap. Reduced mass, reduced lock time, improved shot consistency potential. Requires careful spring balancing, not plug-and-play experimentation. Modification 1, extractor protocol. Replacing MIM extractors with properly machined tool steel components. Major durability upgrade. Immediate warranty implications. 3 mistakes that destroy handguns. Number 1, Dremel enthusiasm. Polishing removes imperfections, not structural geometry. Number 2, neglecting maintenance on tuned guns. Tighter tolerances demand higher discipline. Number 3, confusing mechanical optimization with illegal modification. There is a bright, unyielding legal line. Cross it and consequences are severe. These modifications exist because manufacturers balance cost, liability, universal reliability, legal compliance. Understanding them means understanding trade-offs, not blindly chasing performance. The goal here is education, clarity, consequences, reality. If you found this valuable, consider subscribing to The Armory. Stay smart, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.